Are you Evelyn Elster?
Yes.
You've been named the executor of your cousin's estate.
What?
Hey, Mom. I found something weird.
It's these paintings. They're just all so creepy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The movie opens in January 1968. A woman is seen lying motionless on her bed while his husband removes her ring from her finger. He then enters another room and opens a book containing a ritual called the Painted. Following the instructions, he prepares for the ritual by darkening the room and beginning the incantation. He summons the entity that has been tormenting his wife and commands it to paint itself and reveal its form on the canvas. When nothing happens at first, he assumes the ritual has failed, but moments later, the paint on the canvas begins to stir and slowly forms a shape on its own. As he turns around, all the candles go out, plunging the room into darkness. And when the entity finally reveals itself on the canvas, the man lights a match and throws it at the canvas, but it doesn't catch fire. The painted figure smiles at him, and before he can react, it lunges at him. At the same moment, his wife awakens, only to be horrified by the sight of her husband sitting in a corner, possessed and laughing maniacally. 5 months later, we're introduced to Evelyn and her daughters, Janice and Lucy. Evelyn's husband, Adam, a carpenter, is secretly looking at nude photos in an old magazine when Evelyn tells him Janice wants to borrow the car, and she's already said yes. She questions his interest in the dusty magazines, and he casually claims it's research for his work and takes it from her, claiming the bindings are very delicate. Lucy tells her brother Nelson that Janice doesn't like her, but he insists she does and is just hormonal. He adds that when Janice was her age, they used to build huge forts in the basement. Meanwhile, a man from the Franco estate visits their home and informs Evelyn that she has been named the executor of her cousin's estate. Evelyn tells Adam her younger cousin passed away, though they weren't close. When Adam asks if they were rich, she says the cousin's husband Clive was very wealthy. He then asks if she's getting paid, and Evelyn confirms with a $10,000 salary plus a percentage. Adam is surprised, but she points out that the alternative is to let the estate go through probate. Adam notes that could take a year, and when Evelyn says she doesn't want to go alone, he offers to come with the kids. Evelyn brings up Janice's softball camp, but Adam insists they can skip it for this once-in-a-lifetime chance. The family decides to move in, and Evelyn tells Adam the appraisers are coming next week, so they need to catalog everything by Sunday. She assigns Nelson the lower level, while she and Adam handle the main floor. Later, Nelson tells Evelyn he found something strange and shows her a painting. Noting the paint looks fresh, she calls it exotic, and Adam asks what's going on, to which she replies by asking what he thinks. When he asks what she means, she says she doesn't want Lucy seeing things like that. She then asks Nelson to move it to the attic for now. That night, Janice is drawn to a painting that makes her feel uneasy, so she approaches it and tries to take it down from the wall, but it won't budge. On the other hand, Adam tries to initiate intimacy with Evelyn, but she tells him not tonight. Frustrated, he steps out and begins looking at nude photos of women, but then he hears a female whispering, and to his shock, he sees a nude woman standing in another room. However, when he opens the door, she vanishes. Meanwhile, someone cuts Janice's hair while she sleeps, and the scene abruptly cuts here. The next morning, Janice wakes up surprised to find her hair has been cut, and she immediately suspects that Lucy is behind it. Enraged, Janice rushes to confront Lucy, but Evelyn steps in and asks what's going on. Janice points to her hair, accusing Lucy, who denies it. Evelyn tells Lucy to apologize, but she insists she didn't do it. Later, while cleaning the mirror, Evelyn sees the woman in the painting move. Perplexed, she turns to check but brushes it off as her imagination. She then hears Lucy's voice and follows the sound of her footsteps, where she sees a door slam shut. But she is shocked to see that Lucy is playing outside. Scared and confused, she opens the door and calls out, "Who's down there?" And in response, someone laughs. Evelyn cautiously descends the stairs and notices a cabinet door closing. Perplexed, she approaches the cabinet and opens it, only to find Adam's toolbox inside. Relaxed, she opens the toolbox and takes out a magazine, but to her surprise, she discovers nude photos inside. Evelyn confronts Adam, who acknowledges her frustration but insists it's nothing to do with her, saying they are just pictures. Adam admits that he lost half his clients last quarter. Retailers are no longer buying locally, and the business is shrinking as they move operations overseas. He explains that he had to empty their savings account to cover Nelson's college expenses. That night, Janice covers the painting in her room before sleeping. Evelyn tells Adam that while playing with Lucy, she saw something odd. She mentions how creepy the paintings are, but Adam insists he doesn't know what she's talking about. Meanwhile, hands reach out from the painting and cut Janice's hair, disappearing as she wakes. Seeing her hair cut again, Janice jolts up in shock and thinks Lucy did it. But when she comes out to check, she realizes everyone is sleeping. As Janice closes the door, she freezes, watching a figure emerge from the painting. Terrified, she hides in the closet, from where she sees a cloth fall to the floor and realizes the man in the painting is gone. Suddenly, she feels someone cutting her hair, and when she turns, the man grabs her. Her screams bring her parents running, and when Janice comes out, the man is back in the painting. Adam asks what happened, and Janice tells them someone was in the room. Adam checks the room, but she points at the painting, saying he was right behind her. Adam suggests it was just a nightmare, but Janice insists it was real and shows them her cut hair. Adam decides to get rid of the painting, but when it won't budge, he calls Nelson for help. Together, they pry it off the wall, and Adam tells Nelson to get rid of it. Later, Adam hears a woman's whisper and steps out to investigate, only to find Evelyn fast asleep. Confused, he heads to the attic, where a candle suddenly rolls toward him. He calls out, "Who's there?" then picks up the candle and lights, asking again, and after a while, in its dim glow, he slowly begins to see something there. Evelyn has a dream where a woman says, "Make me one of the painted," then suddenly wakes up in a jolt. Meanwhile, Adam wakes up in the attic and is startled to see glowing eyes in the darkness. He reflects light from a mirror and realizes that this is the painting of the nude woman. He quickly covers the painting with a cloth and secures it tightly with a rope. The next morning, Evelyn finds candles arranged on the table and bowls of paint on the floor in front of a nearby easel. Curious, she approaches the table and finds a ring, which she keeps. She then discovers a book lying on the floor with a ritual titled "The Painted" written inside. That evening, Adam urges Janice to eat, reminding her how hard he and Evelyn work to provide. Evelyn asks him to stop, saying he's upsetting her and they can discuss it later. But Adam pushes, "Why not now?" Evelyn then explains that the furniture business is struggling, and while they're trying to cut costs through this opportunity, things will be tight for a while. Later, Lucy asks Evelyn if she still loves Daddy, to which she explains that sometimes adults disagree, but that doesn't mean they stop loving each other, and she doesn't need to worry about. That night, Adam returns to the attic and is shocked to find the cloth and rope removed from the painting. Meanwhile, Evelyn wakes up after hearing footsteps, and thinking it's Lucy, she steps out of her room to check. Following the sound of giggling, she heads downstairs, only to see a child jumping and disappearing into a painting. Alarmed, she grabs a flashlight and returns to investigate, only to find a painting of that child. Evelyn cautiously approaches the painting to examine it more closely, and then brushes it off, but the child emerges and says, "Mommy, come and get me." Startled, Evelyn turns and finds that the child has vanished. Moments later, she hears more giggling, and when she looks down, the child grabs her leg before darting away. Evelyn follows the child to the kitchen, but to her shock, it vanishes again. Suddenly, the basement door swings open, and as Evelyn cautiously steps forward to investigate, the child reappears behind her and abruptly pushes her down the stairs. Meanwhile, Nelson wakes up feeling uneasy and is shocked to see the painting on the wall melting. Confused, he gets out of bed and approaches it for a closer look, but then another painting also begins to melt. He places his hand under the dripping paint, which behaves like mercury as it touches his skin. Suddenly, the paint latches onto his face and starts pulling him in. Hearing the noise, Adam rushes downstairs, enters the room, and quickly grabs Nelson, pulling with all his strength. After a tense struggle, he finally manages to pull Nelson free, and the painting returns to normal. Meanwhile, Evelyn regains consciousness and crawls forward to retrieve the flashlight's batteries. She quickly puts them back in, but just then, the demon appears before her. Evelyn asks, "What do you want?" But the demon remains silent. She flashes the light at it, only to find that it has already vanished. Moments later, Adam and the others arrive in the basement looking for her, and Evelyn tells Adam they need to get out of here. They return to their old house, where Janice apologizes to Lucy for blaming her and everything, to which Lucy stands up and hugs her. Evelyn tells Adam that although it was ruled a murder-suicide, it doesn't make sense, as they were newlyweds. She says she thinks Clive was trying to summon something the night they died. She then stands, says there's something she needs to do, and then leaves. Meanwhile, Janice and Lucy are playing in the basement when Janice tells her she's going upstairs to get more boxes. After she leaves, Lucy begins playing with her dolls, but soon notices the child from the painting there. Confused, she goes after him, and he silently signals her to follow him. Curious, Lucy begins to follow him, but suddenly, the demon crawls toward her. Lucy screams and tries to run, but it grabs her leg and tries to drag her back. Hearing the scream, Janice rushes downstairs, sees Lucy in danger, and grabs her, and after a tense struggle, she finally manages to pull Lucy free. Janice then goes to the back of the cardboard tunnel to investigate, and is shocked to find the painting there, and as she reaches out, Nelson quickly stops her from touching it. Janice tells Adam the painting was in the basement, and he assures her he'll take care of it. Meanwhile, Evelyn arrives at a bookstore, and the woman tells her they're closed, but Evelyn insists she needs information about the painted. The woman leads Evelyn to the basement and explains they were called the Painted Spirits Summoned Through Art, and this book is one of the few surviving manuals. When Evelyn asks why it was done, the woman says most spirits continue after death, as they did in life, and these paintings gave them a home but also allowed evil entities in. She adds that the ritual was permanently retired in the early 20s, and the paintings are now kept for safety. Evelyn mentions the painting she saw looked fresh, to which the woman replies that the Franco family kept many secrets, and by the turn of the century, they were leading spirit painters, believing that becoming one of the painted meant never truly dying. Now, as they are leaving, Evelyn turns and sees a figure in the painting staring back at her. Meanwhile, Adam reads about demons and learns about succubus, realizing their appearance matches the woman in the painting. He then digs into the history of the Franco family and discovers a picture in a newspaper clip, which shocks him. That evening, Adam burns the painting, but Evelyn warns him it won't help, because she'll keep coming back no matter what, so they have to find out where she came from. Adam shows Evelyn his findings, and when she asks if he's sure it's the same woman, he says he's pretty sure, and her name was Cassandra Dubray. He adds she wasn't a relative, but knew Ivor, Clive's great-great-grandfather, and after Cassandra died, there was a string of murders, suicides, and disappearances. Evelyn asks about the fire, and Adam explains the original house burned down in 1907, killing Ivor and his wife, and the current house was built on the same foundation 3 years later. Evelyn says there's only one way to stop this, and she knows the ritual, but they need Cassandra's closest possession. She mentions seeing another room in the basement and thinks that's where it's hidden. Before leaving, Adam tells the kids to call Steve if anything happens, and Evelyn reassures them they'll be back soon and that everything will be okay. Later, the paint bottles in Nelson's room begin to uncap themselves and thick streams of color ooze out, creeping onto Lucy's painting. Slowly, the image is swallowed whole until something new begins to take shape. And then, the outline of the succubus emerges. Just then, Nelson wakes up, and as he turns around, the succubus is no longer in the painting, but right behind him. At the Franco house, Evelyn warns Adam the succubus may use the paintings against them. Adam gathers all the paintings and takes them outside to burn. And meanwhile, Evelyn enters the secret room to retrieve Cassandra's pendant. Inside, she finds a box, but it's locked. And just then, she hears something fall, and she finds a key lying on the floor. She uses it to open the box and finds a collection of letters and cards. Beneath them, she discovers Cassandra's pendant, and the moment she touches it, she is overwhelmed by a vision. Adam returns to collect more paintings, but to his shock, he notices that the figures in some of them have vanished. Meanwhile, the paintings in the secret room mysteriously rise and hang themselves. Slowly, figures begin to appear within them, and as the door begins to close, the candle extinguishes. Scared, as Evelyn scans the room, a figure begins to emerge from one of the paintings. She steps closer to another painting for a better look, but the figure inside suddenly comes to life, and all the figures try to grab her. Elsewhere in the house, a figure attacks and strangles Adam, prompting him to rip the painting off the wall, and after a struggle, hurls it across the room. He then rushes over to check on Evelyn and extends his arm for her to grab. As she reaches for him, he pulls her out, and once safe, she tells him that she saw Cassandra. Afterward, the two of them gather all the paintings outside, where Adam sets them on fire. As the flames rise, Adam tells Evelyn there's something he needs to tell her, and when she asks what, he says, "We really should get going." Meanwhile, Nelson picks up Lucy and starts to carry her away, leaving Janice watching in confusion. She follows him and asks, "What is he doing?" But he doesn't respond. Instead, he heads into the basement and shuts the door behind him. Evelyn tells Adam it's a family curse, starting with Ivor Franco, a renowned spiritualist who could summon paintings of the dead. One day, he fell in love with Cassandra, an heiress, and that night, they made a lover's promise to run away together and marry in secret. But at the age of 29, Cassandra unexpectedly became terminally ill and asked Ivor Franco to make her one of the painted. So he created a bewitched painting, a place where their spirits could live and love forever. After her death, he planned to conduct the ritual, binding her spirit to the painting he designed. Then, he would take his own life and join her, but when the time came to prove his undying love, he failed. He abandoned Cassandra, leaving her to spend eternity alone. So in her grief and rage, she cursed Ivor and all his descendants. Adam adds that Cassandra became a succubus, possessing men to kill the women, and she wanted to get inside of him. Evelyn asks what he means, to which he stops the car and tells her there's something he needs to tell her. But Janice interrupts, saying that Nelson took Lucy to the basement. Meanwhile, Nelson attempts to kill Lucy, but she manages to run and escape. Frantic, Nelson chases after her, only to be stopped by Adam, who tells Evelyn to get Lucy out of there. Nelson tries to attack Adam, but Adam hurls him aside and then runs upstairs with Janice. Nelson attempts to open the door and eventually breaks it down, prompting Adam to ask for a chair, which he uses to block the door. Evelyn tells Adam that they need to start the ritual. She then instructs Janice to go to Officer Steve's house and stay there, warning her not to return to this house tonight under any circumstances. Evelyn then brings the painting from Nelson's room, and Adam sets it up on the easel. As they prepare for the ritual, Evelyn tells Adam that once they lift the curse, they have to unbind her from the painting. He asks how, and she replies, "We burn it." Adam pours alcohol onto the canvas, then covers it with a cloth, and finally, Evelyn places the pendant on the table. Meanwhile, Nelson manages to break free, damaging the electrical line and plunging the house into darkness. As Adam and Evelyn light the candles, Nelson tries to open the door, prompting Adam to quickly remove the cover from the painting, only to be shocked to see Cassandra is back on the canvas. Evelyn grabs Adam's hand, and together they summon the spirit of Ivor Franco, commanding him to paint himself on the canvas and reveal his presence. When nothing happens, Adam mutters that it's not working. They call out to Ivor again, but despite their repeated attempts, nothing happens. She then reads from the book. In order for a spirit to precipitate, it must be a willing participant. Adam picks up the pendant as Evelyn continues, explaining that the ritual is essentially a petition that the spirit can refuse. Evelyn concludes, "Ivor won't come," to which Adam replies, "Then you need a sacrifice, and the vow Ivor broke must be fulfilled." Evelyn asks, "But how?" To which Adam tells her that on the night they were in the house, he went to the attic, where she came to him, and they were together. He says, "She tried to take my daughter's life, and now she has my son." Then, he stabs himself, saying this ends tonight. Evelyn rushes to him in fury, but when she sees the blood, the truth hits her. He has sacrificed himself. He tells her, "It's all there now, ready for you, and it had to be me, a willing participant." He then asks her not to hate him before taking his final breath and dying. Meanwhile, Nelson manages to open the door halfway, prompting Evelyn to quickly stand and summon Adam. As she does, paint begins to swirl through the air on its own, and in moments, Adam's image appears on the canvas, with Cassandra's dress reappearing on her body. Evelyn then turns to Nelson, who now appears normal, but suddenly, he smiles, and she realizes it's Cassandra. He enters the room and begins to strangle her. However, before he can kill her, Janice returns and tries to pull him off, but he throws her aside. Noticing Evelyn reaching for the lighter, Janice quickly grabs it, ignites it, and throws it at the painting. The flame hits Cassandra's image, setting it ablaze, and instantly, Nelson screams as he regains consciousness. Next, we see the woman bringing the painting to the basement of the bookstore, where she uncovers it before leaving it there, and the movie ends here.